This is the story of Zhang Huan, who was reborn and became a teacher. He used to be an ordinary librarian, but he died in a fire and was reborn in another world. It was a world of warriors, where Zhang Huang became a terrible teacher. While everyone else awakened their abilities and talents, he got a second chance, but he still did nonsense. Upon hearing his name, the students said that he was a jerk who was ranked last among the teachers. The guys said they heard that if he didn't recruit enough students, he would be fired. But who would call him a teacher if he was driving his students crazy? At the library door, the elder blocked his way and yelled at him to stop. When was trash like him allowed to enter the library? With his eyes flashing, the man shouted furiously, asking how such trash dared to ask his little sister to be his student. Weakness is a sin, and the only way out is to become stronger. Zhang Huang promised to change his life to spite everyone and make sure everyone noticed him. Fate is always unpredictable. If the universe is cruel, then everything becomes ephemeral, and there are many suns and moons, but there is never enough earth. He wondered if this was his main skill, the library of the heavenly way. It was not only the ability to see all the flaws in people and objects, but also the quick choice of the most advantageous tactics. He felt full of strength and that his path to success was beginning now. Zhang Huang told the stunned girl that her leg had been injured in battle. He told the guy that he had mental trauma because he had been humiliated by someone. Zhang Huang told another guy that he felt pain in his armpits and itching in his shoulder joints every time he exercised. He told another girl that she often felt pain in the Zhong and Zhongwan points, especially on the night of the full moon when her body was tired. She often feels irritated. No matter how much she trains, she cannot calm her anger. Everyone who heard him was shocked, not understanding how he knew this. That's how he acquired talented students. Putting his hand on the young man's shoulder, Zhang Huang said that from that day on, he would be his disciple. He was able to compensate for his weaknesses. He began to teach them about the world. Kneeling, the students asked him to accept their obedience. But distrust of Huang was inevitable, like a tidal wave. He was threatened for forcing these children to be his disciples. How dare he manipulate them? They yelled at him, asking how he dared to tarnish the reputation of the Hung Tin House, as soon as he had enough of their insolence. Wielding his sword, the master shouted furiously that it was unwise to insult a fourth-degree martial arts master. He rushed toward Zhang Huan to deliver a crushing blow. But the young man easily stopped the deadly sword. Smiling, he asked, "So what?" Deflecting another attack, Zhang Huang decided that he would only become stronger. He was strong enough to defeat them all, and that was wonderful. He would fight his way through the thorns to the stars, and conquer the most unattainable peak. At first, Zhang Huang was an ordinary librarian at a high school. He died in a fire in the library, but was reborn in this world. Putting a dagger to the girl's throat, he asked if she really wanted to do it. She asked fearfully, "Are you a student?" Zhang Huang replied that he was the most popular teacher in college. The girl replied that she thought Lu Sun was the most popular. This world is like the world in novels. Power is important here. Zhang Huang replied that he was stronger than Lu Shun. The girl asked his name. He thought he would become like a hero in a novel. He would become a scoundrel and thus conquer the whole world. Beaming with self-satisfaction, he said his name was Zhang Huang. But soon he realized he had put his foot in his mouth. Swinging with all her might, the girl slapped him hard across the face. She yelled at him to get lost, the most popular only at the end, a liar and a cheat. Falling to the ground, Zhang Huang shouted that the last one was also the first in a sense. Maybe she would reconsider. He never thought he would become such a failure. Why is it so difficult to recruit students? Because he was the worst teacher in the whole university. Looking around the empty classroom, he thought that there wasn't a single student. As a result, Zhang Huang became such a failure that the students felt sorry for him. But still, they didn't go to him. No students. Everyone hates him. He was simply the worst, and so, unfortunately, everyone started talking about him even worse. If he didn't find students, he would be kicked out of there. At that moment, Zhang Huang heard someone greet him and ask if they could come in. A confused girl asked if this was Lu Shun's classroom and looked at Zhang Huang, deciding that this was his chance and that he was finally lucky enough to get a new student. He frowned and asked if she really wanted to be his student. Zhang Huang decided that this time he would succeed. The girl happily shouted yes. She had heard that Lu Sun was the strictest and most famous teacher at Hongting University. He replied that the girl was confused. Choosing a mentor is like choosing shoes where only the size matters. If it doesn't suit her, there's nothing that can be done. But there are some teachers who may not be as well known, but if they are a perfect fit for her, the progress from studying with them will be obvious. The upset girl replied that her brother had told her the same thing, but she didn't know which teacher would suit her. He replied that he was also an old teacher, Hong Tin, and couldn't stand to see students stray from the true path without even realizing it. Let her demonstrate her skills and talents and he would recommend a teacher for her. The girl thanked him. Shouting that he couldn't see anything from where he was standing, Zhang Huang thought that a little flattery wouldn't hurt, so it was time to play a little game. Stopping, the girl asked what the teacher thought of her abilities. He replied that, according to his observations, she had a well-developed foundation and excellent prospects. She had a rare talent. It was obvious that she had trained a lot. Delighted, the girl asked if it was really talent. He said she had amazing footwork. Every movement was like a tiger's pounce. Her support was well trained, he could be sure of that, and that was the most important thing. Well-trained legs are the key to success. The girl replied that her leg was injured. The doctor had made a diagnosis and there was no chance of a full recovery. Sighing, Zhang Huang said how he had failed to see the obvious. She had a certain advantage despite her leg injury. Looking at Zhang Huang hopefully, the girl asked what her advantage was. Frowning and swinging his arm, he stamped his foot and shouted, "Hope!" Delighted, the girl asked if it was true. Her legs still had a chance. He replied that there were only 3 teachers in the entire university, including him, who could help her. The other 2 had already stopped taking students. She asked again, "They're not taking students, so what should I do? What about him? He's still recruiting." Zhang Huang replied that he wasn't interested in fame and fortune. Falling to her knees, the girl said that she knew he had strong moral principles but asked him to take her as his student. She promised that she would not slack off and would never disgrace his honor. Zhang Huang smiled and thought that it had worked. Taking out his dagger, he said that he believed fate had brought them together today. He would gladly take her as his apprentice. Zhang Huang offered her a contract. Surprised that everything was happening so quickly, the girl dripped blood onto the talisman. She wondered if he shouldn't have at least thought about it. Did his honor depend on it? He moved so quickly and had prepared the knife in advance. He said that she had become his apprentice of her own free will. He asked her name. The girl replied that her name was Wang Yin. Zhang Huang told her to come back and not to forget that there would be a lesson tomorrow. Looking at the talisman, Zhang Huang sighed with relief that he had finally found a student. He didn't have to worry about being expelled. In a sense, this was also a success. Now he could just relax. Now that one worry was gone, he would take care of his student. Suddenly, he felt the world around him spinning. Everything was spinning. Stunned, Zhang Huang felt himself slowly being pulled into some kind of space. He was rapidly flying down, plunging into some kind of abyss, and did not understand what was happening. Finding himself in front of a huge gate, Zhang Huang wondered where he was. Could this be the library of the Heavenly Way? He was stunned, wondering what had happened to him. He couldn't have died again. Maybe this was a belated consolation prize for his death. But seriously, a library? He had spent his whole life there. Not again, but he had to go in. Maybe there was something useful there. It couldn't be worse. Upon entering, Zhang Huang was stunned. This library was much more luxurious than the one he had worked in. There were so many books here. Is there nothing else besides them? In his old library, books were usually donated by old people, so it wasn't as rich. But still, it was just a pile of books. What use were they to him? How would they help him win the battle? Now he would check what was inside them. Maybe they were first-class textbooks on fighting. Reaching out his hand, a stunned Zhang Huang noticed that his hand passed right through. Could it be that they were not material? He shouted furiously that this was a joke. Everything here was fake. These books couldn't even be picked up. Lost in thought, Zhang Huang tried to understand what this place was. He left as soon as he regained consciousness here. Maybe it was a dream. Even if it was, he simply realized that the library was completely useless and a waste of space. There was no point in thinking about it now. He needed to eat. And then he would immediately return to searching for students. At that moment, Zhang Huang was called out. The guy shouted that today the students would choose their own teachers. These were his recruits. But what about him? No one had come to him yet. They smirked that Zhang Huan was trash. He replied that there was no need to brag in front of him. It wasn't even his business. The guy laughed that this teacher, Mr. Zhang, was the only teacher among all the teachers at the university who received 0 points in the teacher rating. The students were stunned that he had 0 points in the rating. No one could really call him a teacher. They say his students almost died. Frowning, Zhang Huang asked if they had finished talking. Then, let them not delay him. He was hungry. Angry, Cao Xiong said that Zhang Huang was not a respected teacher. Didn't that bother him? Huang asked if it should. He was famous, everyone knew him. What about Cao Xiong? As a teacher, he is not famous, and he still thinks he is better than him. There is no need to show off. At that moment, Wang Yin shouted that the teacher was not like they said he was. He was very good and not only accepted her as a student. He also gave her hope for recovery. He could easily become number 1. Brother Liao shouted for Wang Yin to stop. The master told her to go to Lu Senyu, but she went to this idiot. She just needs to give up his patronage before the young master finds out. Surprised, Cao Xiong asked if she was really Zhang's student, and she wants to leave him. How is that even possible? The guy laughed. Brother Liao turned to Zhang Huang and said that Wang Yin intended to leave his class. Zhang Huang said that Wang Yin understood how many students wanted to be his disciples. Did she really want to give up this invaluable experience? He told Liao that it wasn't that he didn't want to leave his sister, but that students who left their teachers had a bad reputation. None of the teachers would want to take her, but he shouldn't worry. His sister was very talented, and if he allowed him to teach her, she would definitely succeed. At that moment, Chao shouted, "Wait, who said that no teacher would take her? If she leaves Zhang's tutelage, he would be happy to take her." Angered, Zhang Huang shouted that Chao Xiong was poaching students in broad daylight. He would report it to the administration. Chao suggested they simply fight it out. The university charter clearly stipulates this option. A student can choose their own teacher, and then it will not be considered stealing students. After thinking it over, Zhang Huang decided that although Chao had a bad temper, he was a fighter and a much better teacher than he was. He would lose here. But Huang understood that if he refused, Wang Yin would leave. He had to try, otherwise he would never recruit any students. Zhang Huang agreed. Soon it was announced that the battle between Teacher Cao and Teacher Zhang was about to begin. People were surprised. After all, it was an uneven fight. Zhang was the one at the bottom of the list. Teacher Cao said that according to the rules of the university, they would demonstrate their students to each other. Then they would discuss their mistakes and shortcomings. The one who showed the student the most effective path to progress would be the winner. First, the young lady would demonstrate a series of strikes. Wang Yin agreed. Clenching her fist, the girl delivered several powerful blows to the target. Her score was 53. Xiao said that her upper body was well developed, but her footwork was clearly lacking. Most likely, she had a leg injury. Anxious, Zhang Huang thought that Qiao saw it right away. He was much better than him. Huang didn't know what to do now. Leaning toward Wang Ying, Qiao said he would tell her what could be done about her leg. She should listen carefully. He whispered something to her, and Wang Yin replied that she understood. Zhang Huang wondered what they were discussing. He couldn't hear their conversation. Taking advantage of the advice she had received, Wang Yin decided to try it. She had to imagine that her leg had grown into the ground like a root. The root-like support helped her accumulate strength and channel it throughout her body. The result was 63. The students were amazed that in 1 minute, the power of her strike had increased by 10 points. Teacher Qiao was perceptive and attentive. Saying that he was done with his instructions, Cao suggested that Zhang now give advice to his student. At that moment, Zhang Huang put his hand up and shouted, "Stop!" He doesn't think it's fair. If he loses, he'll give Wang Yin to him. But what if he wins? He is at a disadvantage. Cao replied that if Zhang wins, Yang Li will become his disciple. The boy was stunned. But Cao reassured him to relax. How could Zhang Lin defeat him? Let him just do what he could. Watching Yang Li strike, Zhang Huang thought it was all over. He wouldn't even recognize this style. How could he find any flaws in his position? Delivering powerful blows, the guy thought he would rather die than become a student of the teacher at the bottom of the list. Looking at the guy excitedly, Zhang Huang tried to understand his weaknesses. What was he doing wrong? Suddenly, he found himself back in the Heavenly Path library, not understanding why he had been brought here. He saw the inscription Heavenly Path Flaws and tried to understand what it meant. Last time, this phrase was not there. At that moment, a book flew toward the bewildered young man. He was surprised to realize that the book was tangible. It had the inscription Yang Li, and Zhang Huang decided to see what was there. He read Yang Li, the youngest of the Yunqing Li family. Training style, White Lotus. Combat abilities, Fei Hoa strike at a low level. Kunlun strike is excellent. Weaknesses, 12. One of them is too many unnecessary strikes. The left hand is stronger, but he uses his right hand more often, so the strikes lose their potential. At that moment, Zhang Huang realized that every person has weaknesses. The ability to identify and record weaknesses. The Library of the Heavenly Way was created for this purpose. Cao suggested that Zhang begin with the recommendations. Smiling, Zhang Huang thought that this was a good gift to mark the beginning of a new life. The time had come to show his true power. He said that this technique had 12 flaws. Laughing, Cao Xiong asked if he had heard correctly. 12? The disciples laughed, saying that it was the White Lotus style known for its power. It was difficult to see the flaws of a fighter of such a level. Turning around, Zhang replied that if they didn't believe his words, then there was nothing he could do. He didn't want to compete. He told Wang Yin to go with him. Bets like this were simply unacceptable. At that moment, Cao shouted that they believed Teacher Zhang and asked him for advice. Smiling, Zhang Huang thought that Cao Xiong would be very surprised now. He said that Yang Li had struck with his right hand, and now he should try striking with his left. The guy was surprised. Was he seriously suggesting that he switch hands? The students laughed, saying it was a waste of time. Cao Xiong told Yang Li to do as Zhang said. He knew that a left-handed strike would not score more than 30 points. Swinging with all his might, Yang Li delivered a powerful blow with his left hand. Chao Xiong's eyes widened in surprise. He couldn't believe it was possible. The scoreboard showed 123. The students were amazed that it had gone from 63 to 123, a twofold increase in power. Even Master Lu Xiong's result was not that high. Yang Li himself was also stunned that it was his punch. He couldn't believe it. A satisfied Zhang Huang thought it had worked. He knew that the Heavenly Way library had not been given to him for no reason. He told Chao that his result was 20% and his was 100. Did he have anything to say? Not knowing what to say, Chao Xiong took out an amulet and smeared it with blood. He told Yang Li that he had freed him. Now his teacher was Zhang Huang. Shocked, the young man was stunned when he saw this. He cried out, "Teacher!" Frowning, Chao Xiong told his students that they had to leave. They asked in surprise if that was all. Frowning, Chao Xiong thought that Zhang was lucky this time, but he would find a way to get revenge. Throwing a stone at Yang Li, Zhang Huang said that now he was his student and had to prove his identity on the stone. Upset, Yang Li smeared blood on the stone and thought that other teachers would not accept him after that. Soon, all the students at the university were discussing how Chao Xiong had recently competed with Master Zhang, who was at the very bottom of the ranking list. He was the eternal loser, but he won that time. He increased his striking power by 100%. Those who heard this did not believe it was possible. Jia Lucen cannot do that. The girl didn't believe that anyone could do what teacher Lu Sen couldn't. He was just lucky. The second girl said she didn't think it was just luck. It was a 100% increase. The girl thought that the main reason she was at the university was because she wanted to get close to Lu Sen. How could some loser surpass him? She decided to go and teach him a lesson right now. When Zhang Huang saw the girl, he thought that when he saw someone's abilities, the Heavenly Path library automatically generated a book with flaws. Looking at him, the girl frowned and asked if he was Mr. Zhang Huang. Waking up from his thoughts, the guy replied that it was him and asked what was the matter. She asked if it was true that he had increased the student's striking power by 100%. Let him prove it by giving her some advice. So that she could double her strength? Zhang Huang replied no. Angered, she asked why not. Wasn't he just slacking off? He replied that he was recruiting students and not helping rude little girls for free. Gritting her teeth in anger, she asked what he wanted from her then. Frowning, Zhang Huang said that she should become his student. The girl thought that he was deceiving students again. First, she would become his student, and when she found out the truth, she would go to Lu Senyu. The girl agreed, but if she found out that he was deceiving his students, she would tell everyone. When they saw her, the girls whispered that Zhao Yao wanted to become Zhang Huang's student, but that was terrible. Rushing out of the university, they decided that they needed to tell her family immediately. But at that moment, Zhang told her to forget it. He had changed his mind. She was terribly impatient, and he preferred attentive students. Burning with anger, the girl thought she had to expose him at all costs. She would endure it. Smiling, she told him not to be angry. She apologized and sincerely wanted to become his student. Let him accept her. Smiling, Zhang Huang replied that he felt better. The girl thanked her teacher. He said that if she wanted to become his student, she would have to clean up here. And don't forget about the toilet outside. He needed to test her patience, and if he was satisfied, she would study with him. The enraged girl replied that this was too much. She would not do it. He replied that if she couldn't do it, then she should leave. He thought that she was playing games with him. She was too young. Grabbing the mop, the girl replied that she was just joking. She would do everything. She thought about how she had never backed down in her life, so she would just wait and take revenge. Seeing that the room was sparkling clean, Zhang Huang said she was doing a great job. Handing her the stone, he said that now she should prove her identity. She said she was looking forward to his instructions. She wanted to become strong as soon as possible. At the same time, she thought she wanted to break his self-confidence. Teacher Zhang said that he needed to see her strike to understand what level she was at. Entering the training field, Zhao Yao thought that it was just one punch. What could she see there anyway? Let's see what he has in mind. Looking at the girl, Zhang thought that she had a very aggressive stance. It was time for the Heavenly Way library. Looking around, Zhang Huang wondered where this student's book was. Finding the right book, he looked inside to see what was wrong with her kung fu. It said that Zhao Yao was a daughter of the Lord of Baiyun City. Highest level of mastery of the basics. Fighting style, white jade kung fu. Irritable due to hastiness. 27 shortcomings. He decided that there was nothing special about her. Looking at the girl, Zhang Huan realized that this was it. Seeing the result of 123, he said, "Not bad." He had not studied her systematic strikes, but her strength was worthy of a lord's daughter. Thanking him for his compliments, the girl asked him to point out her shortcomings. At that moment, she clutched the crystal in her hand. She thought she would keep his shame with the help of this crystal, and then she would tell people. Let's see how they would justify themselves. Zhang Huang said that he would get straight to the point. Her weakness was her illness. The enraged girl shouted that she was not sick. It was he who was sick, and his whole family was sick. Stunned by such a reaction, the teacher replied that he was not scolding her, but she was physically unhealthy. The girl replied that this was nonsense. She was not sick. He did not know what he was talking about. He said that there was no point in denying it. She often felt pain in the Tanjong and Zhongwan points. That was true, especially on a full moon when her body and mind were particularly irritable. And no matter how hard she trains, she is always irritable, isn't she? The girl was struck by his words. She asked in surprise how he knew that. Smiling, Jiang Huang replied that it was because he was an experienced teacher. Excited, Zhao Yao asked if there was any solution to her problem. He replied that the solution was for her to come to class tomorrow. He would explain everything to her. If she didn't trust him, she should go to another teacher. Zhao Yao replied that she trusted him. Turning around, Jiang Huang asked if she still wanted to keep the stone with the inscription. Shocked, the girl crushed the stone and shouted, "No, of course not." She was amazed that he immediately recognized her illness and understood that she was recording him on the crystal. How could such an experienced person end up at the bottom of the rankings? The only explanation was that he was too noble and did not need wealth and recognition. At that moment, a bright light flashed not far from the training field. Frowning, Yao Han, the administrator of Baiyun City, shouted fiercely, "Stop!" She asked in surprise what Uncle Yao was doing here. He asked, "Isn't that right, sister?" Let her tell him that she did not become Zhang Huan's student. The girl replied that she did. Yao Han shouted that his little sister was the pride of the family. She couldn't study under someone like him. Let him release her, or he would get him expelled by the principal. Zhao Yao asked what Uncle Yao was doing. She had voluntarily become his student, so why make such a fuss? Stunned, Han asked how it was voluntary. Didn't she understand that he was not a worthy teacher? Could he increase her strength? Embarrassed, Zhao Yao asked again about increasing her strength. No, that's not it. He asked if not, then what was Zhao doing here? She replied that she had decided so. At that moment, Yao Han noticed the broken recording crystal. Enraged, he shouted furiously at the son of a bitch for what he had done to his sister. He demanded that he release her from his class immediately. Whether he believed it or not, if he didn't, he would destroy him right then and there. The guy asked if Yao Han really thought he had brainwashed her. It seemed he was a little mistaken. The girl screamed at her uncle. If he didn't stop, she would never speak to him again. Hearing these words, Yao Han was shocked. He looked at his sister in surprise. Taking him by the hand, Zhao Yao said that they would go and prepare a place for her to sleep. She couldn't be late tomorrow. He glared at Zhang Huan. The teacher replied that he had simply accepted a student. What was the problem? At that moment, two guys were walking down the road. One told Zheng Yang not to despair. So what if he was rejected? He wasn't the only teacher at the university. The second replied that it was easy for Mo Xiao to say that. He had been accepted. Mo Xiao replied that he shouldn't say that. Someone would definitely accept him. Zheng Yang said that they had been training with weapons since childhood and that teacher Wang was the best martial arts expert. He would surpass him, and wasn't that sad? At that moment, they noticed a sign that said, "First class," and decided to go in. Mo Xiao said that if this master was also a weapons master, but Zhang Yang noted with doubt that the class looked old. Deciding that this meant the teacher was experienced, they approached Zhang Huan. The teacher asked if he wanted to become his student. Smiling, Mo Xiao said that this guy was good with the spear. He hoped for his patronage. Frowning, Zhang Huang replied that then he should show him his skills first. He thought it was very good that he would have another student. Mo Xiao nudged him and said that everything was fine. They would just give him a couple of tips. He was skeptical because the area looked very unkempt and the teacher was probably just like it. But if he was really that terrible, he simply wouldn't become his student. Taking out his spear, he swung it several times to demonstrate his skills. He delivered a powerful blow to the target. The scoreboard showed a result of 123 points. After a couple of moments, the guy bowed and asked the teacher to give him some advice. At that moment, the boy realized that he hadn't even been watching. It seemed that he was exactly as he had thought. Suddenly, the teacher said that someone had hurt him emotionally. Moreover, he felt humiliated. Blushing, Zheng Yang replied that he had secretly loved a girl. But then, this had nothing to do with him. Surprised, Mo Xiao asked if he had really been hurt. Why didn't he tell him? Zheng Yang replied that they would discuss it later. He said that even though he didn't understand how the teacher knew, it was his personal business and had nothing to do with his training. Zhang Huang replied that it did indeed have something to do with it. His fierce, purposeful strike speaks to his personality. He thinks about the present moment without worrying about what will happen next. But this emotional trauma made him indecisive. He became afraid of failure. His strike could have been much stronger. The stunned guy asked if the teacher really could see that he was in love. Zhang Huang replied that there was nothing to be surprised about. A fighter's punch directly depends on his emotional state. If it is unstable, so is a punch. Movements are weakened by uncertainty about success. He gave him advice that to earn respect in a relationship, you need to be strong. If you don't respect yourself, how do you look to others? Now he needs to figure himself out, let go of his resentment, and learn from his mistakes. He must become strong. 30 years to the east, 30 years to the west. Don't you dare insult me because he is poor. Clenching his fist, Zheng Yang repeated, "Don't insult me because I'm poor." Smiling, Zhang Huang suggested that he strike him one more time. With all his might, Zheng Yang thrust his spear into the training target. The scoreboard showed 235. Shocked, Mo Xiao couldn't believe that Yang's striking power had doubled. The young man asked Zhang Hong to be his teacher. The teacher replied, "Fine, let him prove his identity," and handed him a stone. Impressed, Mo Xiao thought that if he had known this teacher was so cool, he would have gone to him himself. But if there really was such a teacher in Hongtan who knew a lot about weapons, why hadn't he heard anything about him? The teacher replied that his name was Zhang Huang. Embarrassed, Mo Xiao said that the worst teacher at the university was also named Zhang Huang. Laughing, Zhang Huang replied that he was indeed that terrible teacher. Hearing his words, the boys were shocked. They did not expect this. Surprised, Zheng Yang asked why the teacher was so self-critical. He replied that the world was full of cynics and there was nothing wrong with that. He thought that if it weren't for the Heavenly Way library, he would indeed have remained a failure. Without it, he had no special talent. Zheng Yang said he would like to pay his respects. Huang replied that his reputation did not matter, but he would be happy if Yang studied hard. They said goodbye. Mo Xiao said that everything had turned out well in the end. He now had a great teacher. A satisfied Zhang Huang laughed. Now he had 4 students. He had just spent an entire registration token. Now he needed to get a few more in the logistics building. They would come in handy. Upon entering the building, Zhang Huang assumed that they had already been taken. At that moment, he heard someone say that it was their first teacher, Zhang Huang. The head of the logistics department, Chen Biao, asked Zhang Huang what he was doing there. After all, he was having trouble recruiting students. The guy thought that he was always picking on him because he didn't earn much due to his reputation. Maybe it was him who insisted that he be given only 4 tokens and no more. He replied that he had run out of registration tokens and would like to get some more. Chen Biao was surprised. He laughed and said that the teacher at the end of the list said he had used all the tokens. He hadn't laughed like that in a long time. He only had 1 student. Smiling, Zhang Huang asked if they really didn't believe him. Then they could make a bet. Frowning, the logistics manager asked if it was really a bet. But what could a beggar like him bet? The guy replied that he wanted to bet his face. The loser would receive 3 slaps in public from the winner. Would Chen Biao dare to do that? Laughing, the head of logistics agreed. He replied that so be it. But if Zhang Huang lost, he would receive 3 slaps from each of them. Taking out the book, Chen Biao said that it contained information about the students' allegiance to their teachers. With the help of this book, they would find out whether he was lying or not. So what would this guy do? How would he justify himself? Leafing through the notebook, the students read that Zhang Huang indeed had 4 students who recognized him as their teacher. Stunned, Chen Biao shouted, "It can't be. These guys must be idiots if they did that." Seeing the list, he thought, of course Wang Yin with her leg injury is his student. But he was amazed to see the daughter of the Wang family, one of the richest in Tianxuan, in 67th place on the entrance exams. Zhao Ya, who was 7th in the entrance exam. The daughter of the Lord of Bayou City, and Yang Li and Zheng Yang. They were both in the top 100. He shouted that Zhang Huang had simply brainwashed these children. Otherwise, they wouldn't even look at him. After all, he was a failure. Smiling, Zhang Huang replied that whether he wanted to believe it or not, it was true. It was time to fulfill his promise. Crossing his arms, Chen Biao asked what would happen if he didn't do it. Zhang shouted that he would do it to them. He couldn't handle them, and they would beat him up. Smiling, Zhang Huang replied, "So that's how it is. They don't want to keep their promises." Li Yuan said exactly that. He was not even worthy of touching his face, let alone slapping him. Qian Biao said it was time to teach him a lesson. Shouting, "I understand, boss," Li Yuan rushed towards Zhang Huang to strike him. Smiling, Qian Biao thought that this mediocre individual was only 3rd rank. He couldn't withstand a 4th rank master. It was beyond his capabilities. There are 9 combat ranks. The 1st rank is Second Breath, the 2nd is Dantian, the 3rd is True Kui, the 4th is Purification of Skin and Bones, the 5th is Kui Vessels. The 6th is the opening of the chakras, the 7th is the comprehension of truth, the 8th is a sage, the 9th is Bhagavan. The higher the rank, the more difficult it is to move on to the next one. Seeing the blood on the floor, Chen Biao said that he had asked for a small lesson. Why the extra blood? The shocked guys shouted to their boss that it wasn't Zhang Huan's blood. Turning around, he was stunned to see Li Yuan sprawled on the floor. He shouted, "How is this possible? Li Yuan is 1 rank higher. How did this happen?" Smiling at them, Zhang Huang beckoned the guys with his finger, telling them not to be afraid. They rushed at him, shouting that he was just lucky. Qian Biao shouted at them to go ahead. There was no need to be afraid of him. At that moment, Zhang Huang went to the Heavenly Way library to see their weaknesses. Having learned all their weak points, Zhang Huang rushed to attack the guys. He delivered powerful blows to the stunned guys who did not expect such a turn of events. In a couple of moments, he quickly approached Qiao Biao and struck him. Soon, all three of them were struggling to stand. Their whole bodies were shaking. They were in shock. Looking at them, Zhang Huang said that he had touched his vital point. A few moments later, all three fell to the floor with a thud, unconscious. While in the Heavenly Way library, Zhang Huang read the Heavenly Encyclopedia. Life point. Fighters who train hard always have such a weak point. Even a child striking it could lead to death. Therefore, vital points are the most important place for a fighter. Often, even relatives do not know about them. Stunned, Qiao Biao asked how Zhang Huang knew about their vital points. The guy thought that it was thanks to the library, of course. He only understood now. It can help not only in teaching students but also in battle. Even though he is from the countryside and does not fully understand Kung Fu, he knows people's weaknesses. And he could easily defeat them. He said that if they had kept their promise, they would not have found themselves in this situation. Biao shouted at him, asking how he dared to attack higher-ranking employees in a public place. He could file a complaint. The guy yelled at Zhang to get on his knees so they could teach him a lesson. If he lost his position, he would lose all respect and be destroyed somewhere in an alleyway. Zhang Huang was stunned. They couldn't win with strength or intelligence, so they resorted to meanness. Then he would resort to their methods too. He said that Master Qian Biao had stolen Elder Chen Min's treasures 6 months ago, and he used it to please a woman he liked. 3 years ago, teacher Bai Lin insulted a girl so badly that she committed suicide. Her spirit often returns to him in his dreams. Death must be near. And teacher Chun took over his brother's business using poison. He poisoned him. All three opened their mouths in surprise, thinking it was impossible. How did he find out about this? Falling to their knees, they stammered that they had made a mistake. Let teacher Zhang not be angry with them. They did not do it on purpose. Let him spare them. He replied that he had no time to deal with their past mistakes, but if they did not learn their lesson, he would definitely destroy their careers. Holding out their tokens, Qian Biao said they would never dare again. He could take as many registration tokens as he wanted. When he left, all three waved goodbye and shouted for teacher Zhang to take care of it himself. Satisfied, Zhang Huang thought that this exciting life was what he needed. At that moment, he saw a guy shouting that he was going to die. Let him die. The guys replied that he could die if he wanted to, but only if he let them go. If he wanted to jump into the reservoir, he didn't have to drag anyone with him. Sighing heavily, the guy replied that it was fine. He understood everything and would let them go. Grabbing the guy by the leg, he said to just leave him alone. He was already a goner. The guy yelled at him to let go and grab the other guy's pants. Watching them, Zhang Huang thought to himself, what a mess. What led to this? He needed to continue recruiting students. At that moment, he heard a scream. Could it be one of the teacher's uniforms? Suddenly, the fat guy who was about to kill himself grabbed his leg. The students, disappearing into thin air, shouted thanks to the teacher for distracting him. Zhang Huang told the guy to let him go. The guy shouted, no teacher. He has been refused patronage 10 times already. Today is the last day of selection. Let him take him as a student. He replied that if the guy wanted to become his student, he should show his abilities. What was the point of him hanging on his leg? Agreeing, the guy stood up, picked up some bricks, and told the teacher to watch him. A moment later, he began smashing the bricks against his head, arms, and legs. Teacher Zhang tried to understand why the boy was hitting himself. He decided to consult the library. He learned that this was an unusual form of Henlian Kung Fu. Yuan Dao was a random student of Hong Ting, a martial arts master in the early stages of his second breath. 18 shortcomings. The first was that the blood of the horned dragon had not been activated. The second was weakness of character and instability in training, a rich pedigree. But still, he was not talented enough. Zhang was surprised to see the power of imperial blood. In this world, the body and blood you are born with are of great importance. If a fighter has a legacy, he can improve much more actively than his opponents. There are several types of bodies. The first is the purest body, the second is the yin body, the third body is the yang body, and finally the fourth body is the golden body. There are also several types of blood. The first is ancient blood. Then the second blood is new blood. The third blood is inherited blood. There is also changeable blood and dragon blood. The blood of the horned dragon is one of the ancient bloods. They say that when it is used to its full power, the fighter becomes invulnerable to weapons. Nothing can break him. It is one of the best bloods for protection. He did not expect such an ordinary child to have such potential, even if it was not yet revealed. Looking at the boy, Zhang Huang realized that he needed to take him as a student immediately. Holding out the token, Zhang Huang said he would become his teacher. The delighted boy shouted, "Is this really true?" The teacher was indeed very experienced if he could see his potential. Yuan Dao dropped a drop of his blood. He was very happy that he finally had a teacher. Zhang replied that there was no need to boast about it. At that moment, Shang Bin, the grandson of the elder of the Shang Academy and one of Shenbi's admirers, saw them and said, "Is that really Zhang Huang? Like teacher, like student. If the teacher is trash, then the student is trash. Shen Biju is one of the best teachers with a huge number of fans." Hearing this, Zhang Huang turned around and asked what he meant by trash. What was he talking about? Smiling, Shan Bin replied that he was, of course, talking about his teacher, Zhang. Holding his nose, Zhang asked about him, but why did it only start to smell when Shan appeared? What a stench. The girl giggled, and an enraged Shang Bin shouted furiously, "How dare he!" He thought that even Shen Bi was laughing at him. He needed to be more calm. He couldn't lose face in front of her. He asked if he had lied. Everyone in the academy knows Zhang's place in the rankings. He knows this fat guy too. His striking power is only 15. He's only good at defense, no attack. He must be last in the exam. What a coincidence that the teacher and student are at the bottom of the list. Hearing this, Yuan Dao was stunned that Zhang Huang was at the bottom of the list. What had he done? Looking at him indifferently, Zhang Huang replied that if he had finished talking, he could leave. Zhang told teacher Shen that she shouldn't spend too much time with this trash, it would negatively affect her beauty. The girl smiled and told Zhang that even though he was at the bottom of the list last time, he shouldn't give up. Let him work hard and then he will succeed. Zhang Huang wondered if she really thought that by taking this guy on, he had doomed himself. He thanked her for her advice. She may think that this student is weak, but he can guarantee that he is a diamond in the rough and if taught correctly, he will shine. The girl replied, "Okay." She told teacher Shan that she was a little tired and wanted to rest for a while. He didn't have to follow her. Angered, Shan shouted that he would definitely make Zhang Huan pay for everything. The student was about to run away and Zhang asked where he was going. His class was on the other side. He replied that he was bad and afraid of ruining his teacher's reputation. He would not object if Zhang let him go. Frowning, the teacher replied that it was pointless. He had already spilled blood on the token. He would live as his student and die as his student. They were bound together. And there was no point in arguing with him. He was touched by his concern for him. Now they were walking to class. Dao asked if he would be expelled if he didn't come tomorrow. Zhang replied, no. He would throw him into the very reservoir he wanted to jump into. He would feed the fish. Let him not worry, he would have a beautiful tomb. Returning to his room, Zhang Huang thought that today was the last day of student recruitment. It seems his limit is 5 students. Classes would start tomorrow, so he had to get everything sorted out today. He used to train according to the 9 paths of Hong Ting. Each step corresponded to the essence of the 9 ranks. Many in Hong Ting train according to this system. It seemed that he was the last of the teachers to remain at the 3rd rank. Everyone else had already reached the 4th. He needed to catch up with them. Perhaps here he will be able to find a method to train more successfully than in the past. The essence of uniting true Qi consists in gathering the spiritual energy that surrounds us. This is a very slow process as spiritual energy needs to be reconstructed. For reunion and true Qi of the body, some masters study day and night for 3 years to achieve acceptable results. Will he really have to do this for years? But his classes start tomorrow. If the students find out that their teacher is not capable, even to gather Qi properly, they will surely quit their studies. Although through the Heavenly Way library, he can try to find the flaws in the 9 paths. The problem is that there are more than 1,000 of them. He won't be able to eliminate them all, but he can use the strengths of one system to compensate for the weaknesses of another. The young man approached the venerable Elder Mo, one of the library's guardians. The elder said that it was already quite late. What was he doing in the library at this hour? He replied that he was about to cross the 3rd rank, but he had a couple of questions, so he came here. The elder replied that there was nothing wrong with his slow progress. The university needed fresh blood like him. Information about the 3rd rank was in the 4th row of the Kung Fu manual. He thought that this boy was good, but he lacked ability. He hoped that his results would not be so disappointing. Seeing the number of books, Zhang Huang thought that the university library seemed to be no poorer than a normal modern library. Finding the book he needed, he decided to learn how other teaching techniques worked. He found a book that described a technique with more than 3,000 flaws. In the 9 paths of Hong Ting, there are no more than 1,000 flaws. It was surprising that this system was so popular, fixing so many flaws. Was it even possible? But he decided that this was not the time to despair. Why should he correct all the flaws? He just had to fix the thing that was getting in the way at his stage. There were only 10 flaws here. It is a pity that the Heavenly Way library only talks about mistakes and not about methods of correction, but he can find the advantages of different techniques. By combining all the information and overcoming the shortcomings of others, he could achieve something new and more progressive. Since he is here, why not gather information about the 4th and 5th ranks? The elder asked what the noise was. Such a weakling, yet he wants to appear smart. He is pretending. I would never have thought he was like that. Teacher Zhang thought that now that the information about the 4th and 5th ranks had been found, it was time to return to practice. The elder asked why he had finished so quickly. Maybe he should take one of the copies of the books with him, but Zhang replied that his question was not that profound. After thanking the elder, Zhang said goodbye. Mo thought that the question was not so profound as to take copies. He would come back here again to reread it. How frivolous. It seems that the dean should be asked to keep a closer eye on the teachers. Returning home, Zhang Huang decided that he had gathered everything he needed with the help of the Heavenly Way library. How long would it take to put it all together? Suddenly, the bewildered young man realized that the library was calling him. He couldn't understand why. A few moments later, various books flew toward Zhang Huang, everything he had written down. He looked in amazement at the whirlwind created by the books, trying to understand what it was. Seeing a dazzling flash, the guy covered his face with his hand to protect his eyes. At that moment, a book with a shiny cover flew toward the bewildered Zhang Huan. He was amazed when he realized that it was a collection of all his notes. His information was structured. The content of this book could not belong to any of the known teachings. Its information was completely new to the world. And it still had no title. He wondered whether he should choose one or not. If it was created by the Heavenly Way library, then let it be called the Heavenly Way technique. He began to meditate to raise his level as quickly as possible. Zhang Huang was stunned that the breakthrough happened so quickly. Other people who have advanced to the rank of bone and skin purification fast for a long time. They meditate constantly. Their successes take a long time. It took him half the night to reach the 5th rank of the Hui vessel. It seemed that his training had improved the quality of his kui. Doesn't that require holy or divine processing? When he used the 9 paths of Hong Ting, he made many mistakes. It seems he can gather the highest quality ki. With the help of the Heavenly Way library, will he be able to learn a holy or even divine processing method? There are 3 types of Q energy: supreme, intermediate, and inferior. The higher its quality, the stronger the fighter. Processing techniques are also divided into 5 levels. These are divine, holy, spiritual, ghostly, and deadly. Within each level, there are 4 sublevels: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and peak. He realized that this was definitely key of the highest quality. This practice improves both his body and his energy. He needed to see what he was now capable of. He needed to test his strength. Approaching the slab, Zhang Huang thought that when Wang Yin and the other disciples struck this slab, they could measure their strength. Getting ready, he thought that this would be his first strike after meditation. Swinging his arm, he struck with all his might. His strike ignited a flame. Seeing the result of 8 ding, Zhang Huang doubted that they were working properly. This strength was comparable to that of the wisest 6th rank. And yet, the new system has more of an effect on the body's energy than on its strength. In a sense, this is terrifying. After thinking about it, Zhang Huang decided it was better to keep secret the fact that he had reached the 5th rank in one night. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound. He was surprised that someone had come here at such a time and decided to check it out. Whoever it was, this person was walking towards his room, and it seemed that they hadn't noticed him. The young man hoped that this unexpected visitor would not cause him any trouble. The stranger thought that it was his own fault. How dare he take his sister under his influence? Zhang Huang realized that he was sneaking up on his teacher in the middle of the night. To disguise himself, it would be better to take off his teacher's uniform. Suddenly, the man turned around and shouted, "Who's there?" Zhang Huang realized he had been spotted. The guy guessed that he was there to destroy him, so he would just say that he had the same plan. That would confuse him. Peeking from around the corner and hiding his face, Zhang Huang said he had come to destroy the failed teacher. And who was he? Frowning, the man replied that he would do it then, and he would give him orders. Frowning, Zhang asked if he really didn't mind. Didn't he want to destroy him himself? Taking out a knife, the man replied that he didn't want to destroy him. He just wanted to teach him a lesson. He would cut off his penis and make him a Jew, all because he was so unfair to his younger sister. Zhang Huang thought that if he had gone to bed instead of training, the consequences would have been dire. The man told him to go first. Zhang replied that he should go first. If he destroyed him, what was the point of castrating him? Deciding that it was a lucky coincidence that this guy also wanted to destroy Zhang, he said that they would go together. Frowning, Zhang Huang replied, "Fine. This guy is very suspicious." The man told him to focus his energy so he could feel his body better and prepare for the attack. Upon entering the library, Zhang Huang decided to check a familiar name he had heard somewhere. He read, Yao Han, servant of the Baiyun family, 6th rank fighter who has opened 8 chakra points. He is Zhao Yao's assistant. What has he done? So what if he's already 6th rank? So what if he can hit 12 ding? He wouldn't be Zhang Huang if he didn't teach him a lesson. But in a direct confrontation, he would lose to him. He needed to exploit his weaknesses. He chuckled quietly. Yao Han asked what was wrong with him. The guy replied that nothing was wrong. The guy pointed his finger forward and shouted, "Look, a UFO?" Stunned, Han asked what a UFO was. Zhang Huang rushed forward and shouted for him not to worry. He would see soon enough. He attacked Yao Han with a devastating kick. The man lost his balance. Flying far to the side, he crashed to the ground with a bang, leaving clouds of dust behind him. Looking at the defeated Yao, Zhang thought that surely a 6th rank fighter should be stronger. If you know your opponent's weaknesses, it makes a big difference and gives you an advantage. Stunned, Yao Han asked if he didn't want to take revenge on that guy. Frowning, Zhang Huang asked menacingly if he wanted revenge. With him. Looking at the guy in fear, Yao Han asked what he was going to do. A small dog with eyes wide with fear ran away when it heard the shouting. Exhaling, Zhang thought that it wasn't so difficult. This guy was the assistant to the Yao family and Uncle Zhao. That was probably enough. How does it feel to be defeated by a 5th rank? He was sure he had never had a battle like this before. Watching Yao get up, Zhang Huang thought about how he needed to divert suspicion away from himself. He could blame everything on Sheng Bin. If he hadn't approached him that afternoon, he wouldn't have remembered him. He said that Zhang had angered him that afternoon, so he wanted to teach him a lesson. Although he was here for the same reason, but if he really wanted to castrate him, then Shen Bi would think he did it, so he wouldn't take responsibility for it. As he left, Yao Han thought he remembered that guy. That man definitely talked to Zhang this afternoon and said something about Shen Bi. When Yao left, Zhang Huang thought with relief how good it was that he had decided to train today. To survive in this world, you definitely need strength. He had to become stronger. The next day, Zhang Huang came to a student's classroom and noticed that Zhao was not there. The students replied that she would come later. Zhang said that they would start without her. His teaching method was different from others. Individuality was important to him, therefore, he would work on each of their styles. He turned to Wang Yin and said that she was his first student, so he would start with her. She thought that yesterday, when she returned home, she learned that teacher Zhang was indeed a fraud. So now she didn't want to study with him at all, but what could she do? The teacher told her to show him her strike again. He needed to look at it more closely. The girl asked if there wasn't too little space here. Zhang Huang replied that it didn't matter. He thought that when he first examined her strength, he did not yet possess the Heavenly Way library. The girl struck, and Zhang Huang understood all her shortcomings. He said that the strike was not bad. Embarrassed, Wang Yin tried to say what she wanted, but Zhang Huang interrupted her. He said that if he was not mistaken, her leg had been injured in battle about 2 years ago. Surprised, the girl wondered how he could understand the cause and time of the injury. He said that there were 3 points in the human leg that were responsible for strength, speed, and agility. Her opponent had struck the strength point. It closed, and blood began to flow in the opposite direction. That was why her blows were weaker than others. Stunned, Wang Yin thought that one of the best doctors had said the same thing but could not do anything about it. This required a master of at least the 8th rank. The girl asked doubtfully if the teacher could cure her. Zhang Huang replied that it was nothing. She was stunned because she thought her injury was impossible to cure now. Medicine was not capable of doing so, but the teacher said it was nothing. Could he really do it? Zhang Huang said he had called her here to cure her. She should sit down here and relax her whole body. Wang Yin thought that she didn't know why, but now she was confident in her teacher. The teacher directed the needle at her. She thought that this technique required strict control over the flight of the needle so that it would hit the target accurately. Could it be air acupuncture? But air acupuncture requires at least 5th rank. Could it be that the worst teacher in the entire university had reached the 5th rank? When throwing needles at Wang Yin, Zhang Huang used the introduction of true qi. Screaming in pain, the girl asked if it was teacher Zhang's qi. The purest qi was like spring water without a single impurity. Could a 3rd rank master have such energy? No one in the whole country had heard of such mastery of true qi. Teacher Zhang, is this true? The teacher smiled and replied, yes. The girl felt her legs more clearly than ever before. It was as if he had turned some kind of lever and she could feel them. She had waited so long for this and had almost lost hope. It was such a serious illness, but the teacher had cured it so easily. Kneeling down, Wang Yin sincerely thanked teacher Zhang for this. Smiling, Zhang Huang replied that now that everything was fine, she should train harder. At that moment, Yang Li, who had remained in the office with the other students, said that he was going to leave the teacher. He asked if any of them would go with him. Yuan Dao raised his hand and said he would. He said that he also wanted to leave him, but that they needed to be careful. The teacher might get angry. Frowning, Yang Li replied that he didn't care. It was better than staying here. This is crazy. They don't even know what rank he is. He was sure that when Wang Yin came out, she would convince them of this. At that moment, the door swung open and Zhang Huang and a smiling Wang Yin came out. Seeing the girl, Yang Li was puzzled. She didn't look disappointed at all. He thought Wang Yin looked genuinely happy. Could he really have said something worthwhile to her? At that moment, the door swung open and Zhao Yao entered, accompanied by Yao Han. The teacher asked Zhao if he could ask her who the disabled person next to her was. Looking at teacher Zhang in bewilderment, Zhao Yao asked him again, "Disabled person?" An enraged Yao Han shouted that he himself was disabled. He, Yao Han, was a servant in the Bai Yun household. He was there to check on him. He would be watching their lesson. Zhao tried to calm her uncle down. The teacher said he needed absolute silence in the classroom in order to teach. This isn't a public square where just anyone can come in. His eyes flashing with anger, he shouted that how dare he call him a rabble. Yes, he could slap him right now. Frowning, Zhang told Zhao Yao that he couldn't handle him. Let him deal with his relative. The girl shouted for Uncle Yao to leave. He was disrupting her classes. Yao Han was stunned. A moment later, he was pushed out of the classroom and the door slammed loudly behind him. Enraged, Yao Han yelled at Zhang Huang not to cross his path. Next, Zhang Huang called Yang Li. He said it was his turn to go with him now. Yang Li agreed and thought he would see what Zhang was capable of. If he was really as bad as people said, he would quit the class without hesitation. He asked if the teacher wanted him to practice Kung Fu, but Zhang Huang replied that it was useless. At the moment, his Fei Hoa strike was at the beginner level. However, his Kunlun strike was excellent. Surprised, Yang Li asked how he knew about Kunlun. No one knew about these training sessions, not even his family. The teacher replied that it was because yesterday he clearly saw the Kunlun style in his Fei Hoa. The young man was amazed that Zhang was able to see this. He thought that teacher Chao Xiong had not seen it. How could Zhang have guessed? The teacher said that despite the high level of development of the Kunlun strike, every time Yang Li used it, the pain in his armpits and itching in his shoulder intensified. Widening his eyes in surprise, Yang Li shouted, "How does Zhang Huang know this?" The body of a Kunlun technique master is perceived as the body of a dragon, and if a warrior has reached the rank of skin and bone purification, there will be no side effects. The QE energy will nourish the muscles and bones of its carrier, but Yang Li is only at the rank of second breath. His body is too weak. Kunlun wounds him, and over time, the injury will become more and more serious. If he continues in the same vein, his arm will atrophy. It will be beyond saving. He is already at the stage where his sleep is disturbed. At night, he feels spasms throughout his arm. Falling to his knees, Yang Li asked his teacher to help him. He replied that his student should not worry. He should stop practicing Kunlun and focus on his rank. He will find a way to fix his condition. The excited young man thought he was wrong when he thought Zhang was a bad teacher. Now he realizes how lucky he is. The teacher is a great man. All this time, the other students were eagerly awaiting Yang Li's return. Approaching him, Yuan Dao asked if Yang Li was going to abandon his teacher. Frowning, the boy asked, "Quit? What are you talking about? Once a teacher, always a teacher. Now that he's here, there's no point in backing down." He doesn't understand them. All day long, thinking about the way back. How can they not be ashamed? When Zhao Yao went to teacher Zhang, he said that she had the yin body that all women dream of. She is not sick. Her body has a high concentration of yin energy, and with the right training, her progress will be many times faster. It's a pity that no one noticed this, and now she practices white jade kung fu. She adds yin energy to her own, and this is a direct path to illness. The only way to relieve her pain is to change her training method to one that suits her body. Tomorrow, he will go to the library and try to find something suitable for her. Bowing, Zhao Yao sincerely thanked teacher Zhao for his help. When Zheng Huang handed Yuan Dao the book 9 Paths of Hongting for the first rank, he cried and shouted, "Thank you so much, Teacher Zheng, for your care." He rushed to hug him and shouted that the teacher was simply magnificent. He had corrected this technique so well. Zhang Huang thought that he had given Yuan Dao a corrected version of the 9 Paths of Hongting. It was still not the technique of the heavenly path, but it was already much better than the original. Looking at Zheng Yang, Zhang Huang thought that his strength had greatly increased after his recommendations. He said that he had analyzed almost all of their individual recommendations, but success cannot be achieved with simple words. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Someone kicked open the classroom door and shouted at Zhang Huang. The stunned students turned around in unison, not understanding what was happening. A shocked Wang Yin saw her brother Wang Tao, who was a 4th-rank skin and bone purifier. He shouted that Zhang Huang was deceiving his students for his own gain. But how dare he take his sister? He wanted Zhang to stop being Wang Yin and Zhao Yao's teacher and let them go immediately. Otherwise, he would not respect his title as a teacher. He would be to blame for his own injuries. Zhang replied that he was interrupting his lesson. The boy smiled and asked what he could teach with his skills. He was lucky that they were well-mannered and called him a teacher instead of a fool. At that moment, a stunned Wang Tao saw Zhang Huang shout and release a huge energy tiger. The shocked guy thought that only the elder had such an aura. A third rank could not have such a look. It was disgusting to be afraid of a weakling. Clutching his sword tightly, he decided that if anyone found out that he had chickened out, what would become of his honor and reputation. Rushing into the attack, Wang Tao shouted for Zhang Huang to prepare for death. He tried to deliver a crushing blow, but Zhang Huang easily parried his attack. The shocked young man couldn't understand how this was possible. How could a third-rank fighter stop his attack with 2 fingers? Even some chakra masters couldn't do that. How could such a loser stop him? This coincidence was just a coincidence. He shouted for Zhang to let go of his sword and fight him in a fair fight. But Zhang Huang continued to hold his sword, completely ignoring Wang Tao's words. Looking at Zhang, the guy thought it was impossible. Could his strength be a deception? That couldn't be. The last time he was tested, he was only at the 3rd rank. Besides, even if he had gotten stronger, he should only be at the first stage of the 4th rank now. At that moment, Zhang Huang shouted, "Get out!" and let go of Wang Tao's sword. The guy flew out of the classroom like a cork. Standing behind the door, Yao Han heard the noise and decided that Wang Tao was finally going to teach Zhang a lesson. Opening the door slightly, he hoped to finally see Zhang begging for mercy. Suddenly, Yao Han's eyes widened in surprise. He saw what was happening inside. He didn't have time to jump away from the door, and Wang Tao, flying out at full speed, knocked him off his feet. Together with the broken door, they both flew to the side and crashed to the ground with a bang. Pinned to the door, Wang Tao fell on Yao Han, crushing him with his weight. Frowning, Zhang Huang dusted off his hands and told the students that class would continue. The students who saw this were shocked that the highest power of the 4th rank had been easily defeated. Stunned, Yuan Dao couldn't believe that a teacher at the bottom of the rankings was capable of such a feat. At that moment, all the students thought that this could only mean one thing. Teacher Zhao had carefully concealed his true power, but they couldn't understand why. When Yao Han struggled out from under the door, he asked what had happened. Didn't Wang Tao want to teach Zhang a lesson? He replied that he had just used a new technique, but he was lucky because he hadn't fully mastered it yet. It was accidental. Frowning, Yao Han asked again about the new technique and clarified that he had exposed this guy. He replied that he was going to, but the university had a strict rule not to interrupt classes, so they just had to wait. Sighing, Yao Han said okay, but since they had free time, he wanted to ask something. There was a female teacher at this university whose name had a "bai" in it. Did she have any admirers? The guy replied that he was probably talking about Shenbi Ju. She is the local ideal of beauty. Shangbin is her most obvious fan, but Zhang Huang also chased after her. Frowning, Yao Han thought that now he just needed to find out if Zhang and Shan really had a conflict back then. He would be sure that it was him. At that moment, teacher Qiao Xiong went to Shangbin to complain that Zhang Huang had deceived his student. He said that he had turned to him as the grandson of the academy's elder. Wasn't he responsible for teaching? Banging his fist on the table, Shangbin replied that he would decide this himself. He had always wanted to teach Zhang a lesson. He thought that if he attacked Zhang there, it would lower him in Shenbi Ju's eyes, and now he had a good reason. Shanbin told Qiao Xun to follow him. He might need his help, and if Zhang Huang didn't wise up, they would cripple him. When the guys approached Zhang Huang's class, they were surprised to find Wang Tao there. Surprised, Shangbin asked why Wang Tao was there instead of at practice. He replied that his sister had been tricked into going to a certain teacher and he was there to sort it out. Frowning, Shang asked if Zhang dared to lie even to Mrs. Wang. It seemed that he really needed to get his head straight. Wang Tao introduced Yao Han, Mrs. Zhao's family assistant. His ward had also been deceived. Angered, Shang shouted, "Was the Yao family deceived too? In that case, we must go together and teach this scoundrel a lesson." At that moment, Zhang Huang was reading to his students that although the 9-path Hongting system is basic, it has many flaws. The students thought that the teacher's lecture was truly informative. He could point out the flaws in even the most effective methods. It was shocking. All his words needed to be pondered at length. Li thought that even his father could not compare to Zhang in teaching. It was impossible to describe. Frowning, Zhang Huang tried to understand what was wrong with his students. They looked at him with adoration, considering themselves very lucky to have him as their teacher. At that moment, the classroom door swung open and Shangbin entered, accompanied by Yao Han, Wang Tao, and Qiao Xiong. Frowning, Zhang Huang wondered what teachers Shangbin and Qiao Xiong were doing there. Smiling, Shangbin said that he did not expect Zhang to stoop to cheating. He had deceived Ms. Wang Yin and Ms. Zhao Yao. Frowning, Zhang replied that if Shan had business with him, he would listen to him after class. But Shangbin said that he wanted Zhang to release the students right now. Otherwise, he would have to force him to do so. He would regret it. Zhang Huang replied that surely the esteemed Shangbin knew that fighting between teachers was prohibited at Hongting. He replied that the university rules were created for order within these walls, but Zhang was breaking them. Therefore, for his sake, an exception would have to be made. Teacher Zhang asked if he was doing this because he was offended by his words. He didn't think Shen Biju would be angry when he found out about his behavior. Smiling, Zhang asked if Zhang really wants to catch him doing this. He has already decided to teach him a lesson, so he doesn't care about such nonsense. At that moment, Yao Han realized that he was a fan of Shen Biju and that he had had a conflict with Zhang yesterday. This was the man who had hit him last night. In an instant, his fist flew towards Shang's face. Shocked, Shan shouted at Yao, asking what he was doing. He must be crazy. Why did he do that? Enraged, Han shouted, asking why, as if he didn't understand what he deserved. Angry, Shan shouted that he didn't care. If he hit him again, he would respond in kind. Let him not dare to be rude to him. But at that moment, Yao Han, not listening to him, rushed into the attack and began to strike. Surprised, Chao Xiong asked what was going on, but Wang Tao shrugged and said he didn't know. Looking at them, Zhang Huang smiled. His plan had worked. As he had expected, a fight had broken out. Grabbing Yao by the arm, Wang Tao shouted for him to calm down and tell him what had happened. Yao Han shouted for him to let him go. He wasn't finished yet. At that moment, Chao Xiong tried to calm Shan down. Shan Bin said that Yao was hurting him and was too strong, but he would get his revenge. At that moment, Zhang shouted, "Enough. If they have disagreements, let them resolve them outside of his class, otherwise, he will report it to the Department of Education." Hearing about the Department of Education, Shan Bin decided that he was in too bad a state right now. No one should find out about this. He shouted, "Fine, but they will still get what they deserve for everything they have done." After class, Yuan Dao said that today's class was interesting. Zhang agreed, especially with that teacher and the Yao family servant. Upset, Zhao Yao approached her uncle and asked what had happened. Leaving the classroom, Wang Yin waved to teacher Zhang and shouted goodbye. Suddenly, her brother Wang Tao grabbed her by the arm and shouted furiously that she was going home now. She replied that she now lived at school and did not need to go home. Wang Tao said that it was not up for discussion. She was going back. Right now. The stunned girl looked at her brother in surprise. Walking down the hallway, Shang Bin shouted and cursed that he had been beaten for no reason. It was a disgrace for him. Yao Han should have been with them, but he was probably in cahoots with Zhang Huang. After all, he didn't do anything to Yao. He was sure that he attacked him because he wanted to teach Zhang a lesson. Turning around, Shang asked Chao Xiong if he was sure that Zhang was forcing Yang Li to study. Frowning, Chao replied that he was sure. The boy was being forced to stay there. Shang Bin said that if he was sure, he should write a request for a lie detector test right away, and let him not forget to raise the penalty to the maximum. This is the best way to put Zhang in his place. At that moment, at the Wang family mansion, the girl was forced to kneel. Her father yelled furiously, asking if she even understood who she had chosen as her teacher. Didn't she know that he was the worst teacher in the entire academy? The girl replied that teacher Zhang was not what he seemed. He was very talented. But her father yelled that Zhang was only capable of raising children who were trash like himself. Why did she even consider him as a teacher? He couldn't even imagine that she might have any problems with him. Did Yin not know where teacher Zhang ranked? The elders agreed. They said that Wang Yin was confused. She should listen to the head of the family. Let her look at Wang Yang, who is studying under Lu Xing. His strength increased by 40% in just one lesson. The girl replied that with teacher Zhang, her strength had increased by more than 100%, and he had healed her legs. The elder asked if even the most famous doctor in their family couldn't cure her. How could some trash do it? They laughed. 100% increase in strength and a miraculous healing of her leg. Ridiculous. Even if she lied to cover for him, it wouldn't make things better. The girl cried out, how could they talk like that about a teacher they had never even met? She refuses to leave the class. Hearing these words, the elders laughed even louder. Angered, the head of the family replied that she was talking nonsense. She would drop out of class today. Otherwise, the doors to this house would be closed to her. The girl turned to leave. He shouted after her that if she left, she would never return. Approaching the column, she said that it was a column for changing power. If they did not believe her words, she would prove it to them with actions. A moment later, the girl delivered powerful blows with her fist and foot. The elders were shocked that her striking power was 120. Yesterday, her power was only 53, and her legs were working as they should, and her kick was 205. Wang Yin said that she would not have achieved this if it weren't for teacher Zhang. The shocked head of the family shouted that Zhang had really been able to heal her legs. The girl replied that it was true. He asked what he had talked about in his lecture. She replied that she could tell him. However, she didn't understand everything because teacher Zhang talked about things that were too profound. She remembered a little. The astonished head of the family thought about saturating the breath with internal qi. How is it possible to teach such subtle things to only first-rank students? A lecture by a true master of his craft. It was as if he was looking at everything he had already learned in a new light. If he had heard this in his time, who knows what he would have achieved. Looking at Wang Yin, the head of the family said in amazement that she should never leave this teacher. And let her ask him if he could accept their other fighters, and if possible, he himself would become his disciple. The surprised elders said that Wang Hong was the head of the clan. How could he become a disciple of a man with such a reputation? What would people say about their family? They told Wang Yin that they were not the face of the family, but just ordinary old people. Could she ask if Master Zhang would take them as disciples? The head of the family shouted that they had no shame. Stunned, Wang Yin looked at them in confusion. Zhang Huang went to the library again. Although his skills had improved significantly, he still knew little about martial arts. He needed to study now, otherwise he would not be able to teach his students. He turned to the venerable Mo, who frowned and asked if he had come again. The young man replied that he wanted to look at material on martial arts. Mo replied, "Not today." Surprised, Zhang Huang asked why he couldn't enter. At that moment, Teacher Shen approached and said she would take a few books. The elder let her pass. Zhang Huang said that it was unfair. He and Teacher Shen had the same goal of reading the book. Why then was he not allowed to enter? The venerable Mo replied that Teacher Shen was indeed seeking knowledge, but the young man replied that he also wanted to study. Shen looked at him and thought that he liked him. Why didn't he talk to her as usual? She said she was sure that Teacher Zhang had no evil intentions, so why shouldn't Mo let him in? He also had the right to do so, just like all teachers. Frowning, Elder Mo said that since Teacher Shen Bi insisted, he would let him in. But if he saw Zhang violating the rules again, it would be his own fault. Turning to Shen Bi, Zhang Huang thanked her. The girl replied, "You're welcome." Opening the door, the young man said that in that case he would go in first. Surprised, Shen thought that Zhang would take the opportunity to talk to her.